Let us now focus on this year's new collection of 20 in data and technology. All of the women were chosen for their leadership, innovation, courage, as well as their professional achievements. They've dared to be different and they've followed their passion. I hope you will join us in presenting these and celebrating these. They will all go up on the Female Lead website after 5:30 this evening, so I hope you'll check them out. So it remains for me to introduce a short film which we have prepared together. And then Pyle, Rachel and Rasheen are going to come onto stage and we are going to present to you the award winners. So let me introduce the film to you.
Only 1 in 10 UK girls take computer science at A-level.
Women hold less than 7%
of technology roles in Europe.
Women only hold 11% of executive positions in Silicon Valley.
Half of all young women
never consider a career in STEM.
From data science to data engineering, women are still underrepresented in all areas of data and technology.
The situation is ripe for change. Women have so much to offer the data and technology industry. Our perspective is needed.
This is an amazing and diverse showcase of women. It's created to inspire future generations of women in data and technology to aim higher and press further.
These 20 women work in a range of industries. They've had an incredible impact in the organisations they're involved with.
They've invented game-changing technologies.
They are changing our world for the better.
Many are leading their professions.
Others are just at the start of their careers.
All of these women are making an incredible difference. They deserve to be recognised for what they've achieved.
At the Female Lead, we know you can't be what you can't see. Okay, so this is the most important moment of this afternoon. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome to the stage the first of our 20 in data and technology, and that is Anthea De Sillis. I was supposed to say Anthea is going to say a few words and she's going to talk about the object that we asked her to present as an important element in her life development, career development. So Anthea, you're going to kick us off.
I will do. Hi everyone. Can't see you, blinded by the lights. So my object, which I thought you might see, but you can't see it, so I will tell you. Oh, no, you can. Is a slightly quirky object, and what it's meant to represent is balance. And balance has been really important for me throughout my life, starting with work life. And I imagine many of the women in here, it's one of those things that you absolutely strive for, getting that balance right between work and family life. And it's something that I feel like I have finally found, that nirvana state, where I can feel like I'm succeeding in my career and I'm succeeding as a mother. So that's the first thing in terms of balance. The second thing is actually art and science, and I know we've talked a lot about science and data science today, and being a female doing engineering at university, I was always encouraged to go down that science route. But actually, I've been a frustrated artist, and with the dawn of data visualization, I finally feel like I'm able to express that creative side as well, and really balance that off against the science and the data. And the last thing is commercial and analytical. For me, insight was never about insight for insight's sake. It's really important for me to have that balance and understand the commercials, understand the business. And actually, it's incredibly satisfying to see your insight actually implemented and actioned. So for me, balance throughout my career, throughout my life, has been really important.
Thank you. Please. Thank you, Anthea. And now I'd like to invite to the stage Barbara Fosinska, who is our second award winner.
Well done on my last name. That doesn't happen often in this country. Hi, I'm Barbara, and again, you cannot see my object. I may look a little bit different in my picture. There you go. There is a knot and there are scissors. So my object has actually two parts. The first part, as you can imagine, may represent a difficult situation, a problem to solve. A moment like this, when you feel imposter syndrome. The crossroad in your path, maybe pursuing a new career. The moment when you're feeling sad, or even depressed, vulnerable. And I know now it's like this sad moment, because I've put you in this mood, but there are scissors to the rescue. And scissors represent for me this out-of-the-box solution for those difficult moments in your life or challenging moments in your life. And while you might think untangling the knot should be much more subtle thing, finding a way to untangle it, and I'm telling you, just go cut through using scissors. You may think it's kind of brutal. And I would actually tell you that this scissors thing, the scissor solution way of doing things, may seem like a last resort, and we often do this. Actually, we don't often do this. We often think it's a last resort, and by that I mean using your creativity, thinking how to do it differently, not mainstream, how to even brute force something, or simply ask for help when you're in a situation, for help to a friend or even a therapist. Mm-hmm. So I would like to tell you that it's fine, and it's not just fine, it's wise to grab scissors and use them.
Thank you. You know, one of the female leads, Professor Dame Athene Donald, one of the greatest physicists and now master of Churchill, she felt imposter syndrome and talks about it. And she also says that apparently men feel it too. They just don't talk about it. Okay, that was wonderful. Thank you, Barbara. So I'd now like to invite to the stage Caroline Carruthers.
Hi, everybody. That's hello back. Yes, marvellous, great. I picked this school for two reasons. One is because I never quite managed to completely dampen down my inner teenage goth, so I just like schools. But the other side for me is it's a fact of life that everybody who lives dies. It's a sad fact, but it is a fact. And for me, another sad fact is that everybody who dies hasn't necessarily lived. So I like to constantly challenge myself. I like to be curious. I like to be courageous. And I like to find the fun in every day. For me, that's really living my life. And the school is just a perfect reminder and keeps me on track. Thank you.
That's so nice. Lovely. You know, what's interesting is I've always been more successful when I'm having fun. You know, when you're having a really terrible time, it has to pass, otherwise you get the scissors out, right? Thank you. Now I'd like to welcome Claire Mortimer. Just wherever you'd like to stand.
Okay, hi. And welcome to all the people up there, because last time I was here, I was about 12 and I was sat up there. So thank you for your patience up there, because I know there's a whole lot of stuff you think's happening down here and you might be missing it. You're probably not. So I was asked to come up with an object that represented me, and the Rubik's Cube, for me, there's really three things about the Rubik's Cube which help to represent who I am and how I see the world. Now, you look at a Rubik's Cube, you know exactly what the answer needs to be. I know where I'm trying to get to, and I think fundamentally, and very often when we tackle a problem, I know where I'm trying to get to. But how on earth I get from where the Rubik's Cube is, usually when my kids hand it to me, to that place which looks all logical and sorted and lovely is completely beyond me. But I know that the way you solve it is to break it down into small steps. So you take that big problem, and there's a pattern of steps, and as long as I follow that pattern of logical steps, I'll get back to that logical, sorted world, which is much, much more comfortable for me. And I think the last thing with the Rubik's Cube is as soon as I've got it there, someone comes along and messes it up again. And that's just life. And so for me, being able to break those things down into logical steps and to solve it, but to have a real impact, to make things look simpler, look more tidy, that's where I want to take things, and that's why I've always tackled these sorts of problems and the way I've tackled them in my life. And they just keep messing them up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Claire. And could I now welcome to the stage Diana Acanyo.
Hello everyone, my name is Diana. So the object I have chosen today is a bonsai tree. And the reason why I've chosen this object is I believe life is such a blessing, and the tree is a very good representation of the different things we go through in life. We go through different seasons, whether good or bad, and that could be experienced personally or through our careers. But ultimately, we keep going, we keep striving, and it helps us build up resilience, because certainly during my career so far, I've experienced lots of challenges, but you keep that resilience and you keep going. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd like to welcome the next lady to the stage, please, and that's Elizabeth Moorcroft.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Moorcroft, and my object that I picked was the tin can telephone. So bear with me, I know it's a bit weird, but the photographer and I had really good fun trying it out at the photo shoot, and I can tell you that it does work. And the sound was a bit sort of muffled and a bit not very clear, and I think that's probably the reason why I chose it. Communication is so important to what we do as data professionals, and sometimes that message doesn't really get through, but it's so important that sort of in the future, as we're all responsible for the communication between ourselves, our stakeholders and the public, that we try and get that communication a bit clearer, and we remember, just like the tin can telephone, that communication can be fun as well.
The next lady we'd like to welcome to the stage is Helen Crooks.
Thank you very much, and hello everybody. So my object that I chose was a compass, and I chose a compass for two reasons. The first one is that I'm actually an explorer by heart. I like to go out and try so many different things, just try and cram them all in. And that's sort of been true with my work life and also in my personal life. In my work life, I've actually been working in data for about 35 years now, so it's getting on a little bit. But I've managed to keep that career going by actually exploring so many different brilliant opportunities. And that's, I think, is the sort of the key, is actually have an open mind to actually what you're looking to do and follow your heart. Use your inner compass, if you like. The second reason why I chose a compass is that I'm also a little bit, I like to get out there and try different physical things. So I'm a pilot, I'm a sailor, I've started racing cars, but I don't really need a compass for that at the moment. Not got into the off-road rallying Dakar style. Wouldn't mind to do that. But the compass, for me, it gives me that inner sense of where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, gives me that direction. And I have to say, Women in Data found me an absolutely beautiful compass, which I've taken home and put on my shelf. So thank you very much.
Helen, before you leave, can I just say one thing? I don't think a lot of people know this, and I hope you will indulge me, but Helen was the first person that ever joined dunnhumby, right? And she designed our platform and our systems. And I think that's worthy. Woo! Thank you.
The next lady I'd like to welcome to the stage is Helen Lorenz. Helen Hunter.
Hi, sorry, didn't find the mic there. Have we got the wrong Helen on there?
We have got the wrong
Sorry,
Helen
there's
on
far
there.
too many Helens.
Three Helens.
I'll just talk about it while it appears. No, that's not mine.
You can go with it.
So I'm Helen Lorenz. I'm the Director of Intelligence at the Care Quality Commission. I've been there about 18 months, and prior to that, I worked at dunnhumby for about 15 years. So I started there as a graduate analyst and worked my way up to the UK leadership team. And my object, which is about to appear, is not a selfie stick, which is what it might look like. It's actually a magnifying glass. And to me, this represents curiosity and learning. So Catherine Parsons asked earlier, who inspires you? And my mum inspired me a lot through my childhood and really encouraged my thirst for knowledge. So as far back as I can remember, we spent Sunday afternoons camped out on the kitchen table trying to find the answer to the general knowledge crossword in the Sunday Express magazine in an encyclopedia. Some of you might not know what an encyclopedia is, but so there were many happy memories of that, and that's really stuck with me, my curiosity, my thirst for information, for knowledge, and really asking why and what does this mean, and really encouraging that with all the teams that I worked with, and also my children, even when they go through that and really annoying stage of asking why, because blah, 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 blah. But why? And, and they eventually give up because I just keep answering because I really want to help them get that curiosity embedded in them as well. So that's why I've chosen a magnifying glass.
Apologies, Helen, for the mishap of the slide. I'd now like to welcome Helen Hunter to the stage.
Hello everyone. My object, what does it represent? I think we can spend a lot of time focusing on what we don't have. So I could spend a lot of time focusing on the fact that I don't come from a STEM background, that I have this fear of maths that you are now all intimately aware of. One of the things I think is really powerful for us to remember is what we bring, what's different about us, our contribution. And as I've got older, one of the things I've learned to appreciate about myself is the fact that I am this intuitive, holistic thinker, and I'm able to join dots and tell stories that helps people understand a bigger whole. And that really is what my object represents for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. One lady that is unable to make it today, she's actually on tour, it is Imogen Heap.
So congratulations to Imogen. So our next 20 in data and technology that I'd like to invite onto stage is Jackie Ronson.
Hi everyone, lovely to be here. So when I was asked to think about a symbol that had influenced my career, I actually reflected back to something that was way before my career started. and that was my heritage. As you may have heard, I'm Australian, born and bred, and even though I've been in this country for 20 years, it is still being Australian that has shaped me as a person and a professional. I'm sure you all know someone who's Australian. Perhaps they served you at a bar in Earl's Court one time. But you'll know we have this fighting spirit. We're a very big country with a very small population. And so we've always been used to being the underdog and having to punch above our weight. And I think this is how I have approached my career. I've always felt that I had to try that little bit harder to prove myself, and that I was the underdog. And whether that be from being a female, particularly in data and tech, or just fighting for what was right. And so I chose boxing gloves for the influence that the inheritance from Australia, and just having to always try to punch above my weight, fight to be heard, and fight for what was right. Thank you.
Our next amazing lady is Lara Islan. That wasn't a kiss.
Do a real kiss. I'm going to cheat a little bit and take just 5 seconds to say thank you so much for this tremendous honor. Right, I'm in awe just standing here. So I found this challenge a little bit difficult, thinking about an object that would represent, my journey so far and the journey that I see ahead. And in thinking about this, I drew upon my long-standing and a little bit freakish fascination with statues and sculpture. I think there's something about the juxtaposition of beauty and grace out of something that was, hard and cold that really appealed to me. And it's probably, we could look at data a little bit in that way as well. And in my research, I came across a beautiful, strong statue of the goddess Athena, who you see here. And I learned that she is a goddess of many things, actually, but primarily she's the goddess of wisdom, and she's also the goddess of war and courage. And there was something about that duality that really, really resonated with me. Wisdom and logic on the one hand, war and courage on the other. On the one hand, a young girl who found joy in mathematics and science. On the other hand, a girl that survived the playground taunts of someone being of mixed race. On the one hand, an analyst who continuously strives to find truth and insight in data, and on the other hand, a woman, a team leader, a mother who tries to do a little bit of battle every day to try to make a difference, even if it's a really small one. So wisdom and courage, I think, are the ingredients for living a life with integrity, and to me, there's absolutely nothing more important than that.
Wow. Thank you for sharing your story, Lara. So our next amazing lady to welcome on stage is Lindsay Pello.
Hi everyone. So equality is really important to me, so I chose these scales to represent that. It's always been really important to me to be treated fairly, and in fact everywhere I've worked, that's a common theme in all colleague feedback as well, so I know that I'm not alone in that. And I'm sure you can all, like myself, relate to times and how you feel if you think you haven't been treated fairly. For example, being passed over for a promotion maybe, or not being given a piece of work that you're qualified to do, or just simply feeling that you don't have a seat at the table. So I try to be balanced and fair at all times, and I honestly think that's made me a much more effective colleague and manager, and has really helped me advance in my career. I think equality in the workplace is something we should all be striving for. I think we've got a responsibility to ourselves and to other women, and if we really role model it and encourage other people to do the same, then I think that's how we can really be effective. Thank you.
Well said.
A true women in data. Thank you. So our next amazing lady is Magda Piatkowska.
Hi everyone. So my significant item is a robot, and I really love talking about robots, but I'm gonna limit it to only 3 things today. So robots are about simplicity and complexity. It's about the human face, and it's about resilience. So the simplicity and complexity is about the elements and the components that are making up the robot. If you really put a robot and break it down into little pieces, you will realize that it's actually really simple to understand every component of a robot. And despite the fact that the machine becomes something that is quite complicated and can do amazing things, elements of it are quite simple. And this is how I approach my career, this is how I approach my life. It's all about little problems, taking things step by step and achieving things step by step as well. The human face is all about the working with people. And what I found actually, even though the conversation about robots is in quite a, dark colors very often, sometimes I find that explaining to people that we're going to take this thing and we're going to deploy a robot to do it for you is easier than talking about complicated maths and lines of code and so on. So there is a human side to a robot. There is the aesthetics of robot that is easier for people to relate to. And finally, the resilience. So the resilience is all about, it's a machine. It's really difficult to break a machine. Actually, my dad always said that technology is really unbreakable. There is no reason to fear technology. And I think that's the reason why I went into technology, because I was just not afraid of breaking it. And if you do break it, there's always Stack Overflow, so it's fine.
Our next women in data and technology is Maxine McIntosh.
Afternoon, evening, hybrid in between the two. Hi, my name is Maxine. I'm doing a PhD at the Alan Turing Institute looking at early predictors of dementia. And my significant object, I was sitting in the back today thinking, how can I talk about this in a not too earnest way? So I've doubled down and I've written you all a poem.
Oh.
Thanks. Yeah, that's the response I was expecting. Thank you. There once was a woman in data who was quite the statistical gladiator. Numbers she crunched over a keyboard hunched, this rather academic interrogator. 20 in data who me, she thought with much embarrassment and glee. What does it involve? Are there data problems to solve? No, because that would be shitty. So off she trotted to a shoot, where she had quite the hoot. Once caked in much makeup and dolled in white dress-up, a photo op followed suit. But she also had with her an object that had the desired effect to make the cameraman laugh and all the female lead staff all chuckle as you'd expect. The object represents fancy dress. Because, you might have guessed, costumes are my passion. If it's weird, it's not fashion. Too much black can really depress. But a Brit is not more herself than when she's trying to be someone else, covering up English repression and decades of suppression, sequins and glitter expose oneself. So my object is mostly about fun, whether dressed normally as a caterpillar or a nun. You do you, for when you do, you, girl, are on a home run.
Oh, amazing.
Woo! There's almost no words to follow up with that. Thank you.
Okay, so our next awardee is Michelle Wong.
for me, before I went to university, I had a lot of pressure which I put on myself. And as such, I became very anxious and actually lost a lot of self-esteem. Since then, I've been on a journey where I've taken myself out of my comfort zone. So that's kind of from moving to Leicester and then to London, from switching jobs across several different industries, by taking up hobbies which I've never even done before. So I've been boxing, I've done a triathlon, I've been on long cycle rides, I've done dance, I've done yoga. And it's from these experiences that I learned something significant. I learned that I needed to believe in myself, as when I did, I found that I could be successful, and in turn, my confidence actually grew. The object I have chosen is my jade pendant, as one of the significant meanings of jade is courage, and in moments of doubt, my pendant serves as a reminder to believe to achieve. Given this reminder, I want to share 3 learnings that I use to restore my confidence in moments of doubt. So number 1 is to reflect on past achievements, especially on achievements where you've had significant challenges to overcome. Number 2 is to visualize the end outcome of what you're trying to achieve. Use that as your anchor and your opportunity to reset. And number 3 is to change your mindset. Think of challenges as opportunities to learn and develop, as these are the experiences that will enable you to grow and therefore reach your potential. My final takeaway for you is to find your trigger to bring yourself back to your belief to achieve mindset when in doubt. And as Theodore Roosevelt once said, believe you can and you're halfway there.
I'd like to welcome to the stage Natalie Jacobus.
Hi everybody. So my chosen item is an hourglass, and I've selected this item for numerous reasons. Firstly, it symbolizes the passage of time. So it's a continual reminder that life is finite, and so are the opportunities around us. But time has an inevitable influence upon all of our lives. So it's also a reminder for me that there's also a lot of opportunity, beauty, and reward entwined with it. Secondly, the hourglass has 2 containers, the top and the bottom, which holds the sand. And it's a reminder that when I turn the hourglass from top to bottom, it symbolizes a new event, a new opportunity, a new success, a new job, for example. But the sand can only ever flow in one direction. So it's also a reminder that sometimes I need to temporarily change gear, put myself in park or reverse, and reflect on how far I've come, both as an individual and in my career, and also reflect on my successes, my achievements, and my failures. And finally, time has a significant role in all of our lives. It's probably what we want the most, but what we use the worst. And our comfort zone is a really nice place, yeah? But nothing's ever going to grow there, regardless of how much time we spend in our comfort zone. So for me, it's a reminder to seize every opportunity. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome to the stage Nicola Klein.
Hi everybody. My object is a photo of my maternal grandmother, Mary, who I actually never got to meet. And the photo was taken at the school that she went to on a small island off the coast, the west coast of Ireland. And I don't know whether you guys can see the photo, but I'd say about half of the kids don't have shoes. And 2 years after the photo was taken, she was sent, still a child, to Scotland to work on a farm and send money home. And I've only got one other photo of my grandmother, and that's her wedding photo. And this one just blows me away because in 2 generations, it's just such a visual representation of, you know, how far we've come in terms of the opportunities that have been available to me compared to the opportunities that are available to her. And so I like to think that the things that we have in common are that we've made the most of the opportunities that were available to us, even though they were very different, and we've created opportunities for ourselves. But importantly, and certainly as I grow older, realize how important it is to create opportunities for other people so that they can go further than we have and build on the things that we've learned and that we've done. So yes, for me this represents opportunity, and thanks Mary for giving me one.
And I'd like to invite to the stage Tess Merkelova.
Hi everyone. So my significant object is a pair of muddy hiking boots, and the reason for that is we all go through this journey, braving the wilderness of our lives and trying to get to our goals and figuring out who we are. And as we go along it, we go through highs and we go through lows. We go through amazing moments of, you know, valleys, and then we go through the muddy, yucky, tough patches that we don't really want to go through, but we have to in order to figure out who we are. And then as we come out on the other end, because, you know, who can say that we can't, right? These boots is what reminds us of everything that we've been through, and everything that's important, and that mud is that all that hard work that we've put into becoming who we want to be and fighting for what we believe in. So thank you.
And to our final lady, please welcome to the stage Verity Gill.
Wow, hello everyone. Hi. It's just me standing between you and your wine. Sorry about that. So I've prepared a 40-minute speech. No, I haven't. When I was first asked about what kind of item, what object would represent me, I kind of went in a panic, like we all do. As soon as you need to come up with an answer, you try and be really smart, really clever, and sometimes words just fail you. But the more I spoke, the more I realized that what really motivated me, what got me out of bed, was the people who had put me here. They helped me more than I ever could have helped them. So I'm very humbled to be here and to be involved. So the reason that I chose a hand was because it's very human, very tactile. It's something that connects you to others really, really quickly without you having to say anything. So I'm just going to make 3 points around a hand and how, as women, it's our responsibility, a very serious responsibility, to help one another in any way we can. And sometimes that's not always as you'd expect. So 3 things that you can do with your hands when perhaps words might fail you. One is put your hand up. When someone asks if you can do it, don't even think about it, just put your hand up. Because sometimes our brains trick us and we overthink things, and by that time someone has already put their hand up and taken that job. So put your hand up. The second one is put your hand out. If someone needs help up, you help them up, especially if they're another woman. And if you see that hand coming towards you, you pick it up and you pull them up with you, because it's lonely if you don't. And the third one is, and I think this is something that we've really got to work on, is when you see somebody in a situation, give them a little wave. And I'm not just saying just to say hi, I'm actually saying because, yeah, I'm here too, let's see what we can make each other do, because I don't think we're particularly brilliant at healthy competition, and we have to get a lot better at healthy competition. I think men have owned that space a lot, and that's great, and it's not something we should break them down for. It's something that we should be celebrating and actually embracing ourselves. So when you see somebody who's doing some great stuff, instead of it worrying you or making you feel a little bit jealous or having a little rivalry, make it healthy, make it something that, well, she's doing it, then I will too. So give them a little wave and have a chat about it. That's it. Thank you very much.
Edwina mentioned earlier that this wonderful, remarkable collection and celebration couldn't have come together without some key people contributing from a creative perspective. We were very, very, very lucky to be introduced to our photographer and the film crew that took part, and also the interview team as well. So I'd like to welcome to the stage, if possible, to say thanks and celebrate our photographer, Vic, and also our interviewer, Ali, who's here today, and we'd love to celebrate them. So please give them a round of applause.
Can I just say something? Sorry, I just have to say, I'm just so pleased to be here. I've been so fortunate to meet all those incredible women. But I have to share one very quick story. About 5 years ago, I went to one event when I just started my own business. And in this event, Edwina was one of the main speakers. It was in Liverpool, in women's organization. And when I listened to her story, I thought, oh my God, that's the woman I want to be. I want to express myself just like her. I want to speak just like her. She was phenomenal. And I was too shy to go and tell that at that moment. And one year, probably about a year later, I received an email from her, and I thought, oh my God, is it the same woman? She emails me to my private email? Is that possible, and how? Anyway, long story short, 5 years later, I'm doing those incredible projects together. So, like you said, if you can't see yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, you can't really achieve it. So, thank you so much for trusting and just being here.